Governor Cuomo faces a decision that could change New York State's restaurant industry and change it dramatically. It involves how waitresses and waiters get paid.
Now, many of them literally live on tips, and the governor is not sure that's fair to them. Investigative reporter Steve Brown has a look at how the issue could mean $20 for a burger in this Two on Your Side original.
At Rochester's Gatehouse restaurant, burgers are a specialty. They make lots of burgers because customers order a lot of burgers.
Thank you. Now, a Gatehouse burger is not a fast food burger, not at all. They run between $12 and $17. I had one. It was gone in 10 minutes, and it cost me $16. Now, what the folks at the Gatehouse want to avoid most of all is the $20 burger.
That's a terrifying thought for my husband and myself, who have invested everything in this business model that is based on a $16 burger. My clientele, the people that come to the Gatehouse, are not willing to spend more than that.
But Kristen Frado Flores says that $20 burger has to be on the table for discussion at her restaurant. Why? In December, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced on a New York City radio show that he was not a fan of how some workers, like restaurant waitstaff, rely on tips for income.
I don't think that's working well. It hurts immigrants. 70% of the employees are women. So that's one of the inequities that we're going to be looking at, and I'm going to be starting that now.
And across the state, a series of public hearings were held
on the sub-minimum wage in New York State.
Okay, so what is the sub-minimum wage? For lots of New York workers who collect tips at car washes or wait tables, they don't make the full minimum wage, which in Western New York is $10.40 an hour. Instead, they make $7.50 an hour. Now, by state law, if a tipped wage worker in any given week between their tips and their sub-minimum wage, they don't average out to $10.40, then that employer is required by law to top them off.
Yes, they are supposed to top off the tips. Many restaurant owners do not.
Assistant UB law professor Nicole Hallett says that because she was part of a recent small sample study on low-wage employment in Erie County. 29 workers who made tips were asked if their employer ever took some of their tips. 7, or 24%, said yes. By the way, that's illegal.
There is widespread wage theft in the restaurant industry.
So why not beef up enforcement?
The level of enforcement that you would actually need in order to make sure that restaurant owners were complying with the law would be way higher than where we have now.
Instead, Hallett says, a flat minimum wage would solve the problem and improve financial security for all restaurant workers.
I'm sure you're on salary. You know what you're going to make at the end of the month. I'm on salary. I know what I'm going to make at the end of the month. For restaurant workers, that's not the case.
Because with tips, some weeks can be good, other weeks maybe not so good. You know who makes really good tips? The waitstaff at the Gatehouse.
I can range from $20 to $40 an hour. I own my own house, I own my own car. I take vacations quite a bit. I feel privileged and blessed to be able to do this.
That seems to be on the up and up because with the employees' permission, the Gatehouse let us look at their waitstaff's pay stubs for a week in June. Servers who worked at least 35 hours collected between $740 and $880 in just tips. So, what if the governor decides to eliminate the sub-minimum wage?
I will have to cut jobs. I will have to cut lucrative serving jobs.
Because Frado Flores says the increased cost of paying a full minimum wage for every worker at her restaurant would erase her profit margin. So, she says it would come down to one of two bad choices.
That's our choice. We go to the $20 burger and we keep things the same, or we go to counter service and we eliminate these jobs.
It's hard to find good research on this subject, admittedly. A lot of it is partisan, produced either by restaurant associations or advocates for higher wages. We did find this study out of Cornell. It's titled, "Have Minimum Wage Increases Hurt the Restaurant Industry?" The evidence says no. But the authors point out this study looked at small increases in the minimum wage, less than $2 increases. If the governor decides to eliminate the sub-minimum wage here, we'd be looking at a $3 hike. So there really isn't research that connects the dots on this issue.
And when can we expect the governor to make a decision on this?
Well, that's a really great question, one that I posed to his staff in Albany 2 times, once yesterday and again today. We asked whether or not he was going to make a decision before Election Day. We have still not gotten a response. I think voters should know where the governor is in this particular issue. It's going to affect a lot of people in a profound way.
Yeah, that's a big impact, and certainly for the workers too, to be able to have a big change in pay or no job at all.
And restaurants and restaurant owners say that we will lose restaurants if this goes through. Now, there have been things like this threatened before. If you keep us from letting smokers smoke inside our restaurants, we're going to lose business.
Right.
The restaurant industry recovered. In this particular instance, it's a bottom line issue. It could get really dicey for them.
All right, we know you'll continue to follow. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Steve.